This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Here we are again. You know, one of my favorite stories too was when got to tour the new KBI Forensic Science Building on the campus of Washburn University in Topeka. It's a huge building, and I believe it cost $35 million to build. You think, what? What could they possibly put in there? Well, as you're going to see in this story, you'll know what it was. I mean, the unbelievable scientific equipment that's in there. It's a fascinating place, and yes, you can take a tour of it. If you do have an opportunity, you should go see that new building at Washburn.
Doggone it, that's one I have got to do. I was so jealous that you guys got to go do that, and I didn't get to go because I wasn't in town that day. I was doing something else. I was, my first real media job, you know, I started writing for the local paper when I was 15, but then a full-time job for the newspaper in Mayberry, Mount Airy, North Carolina. I covered court. So I was the court reporter full-time. Loved it. The only thing I've loved as much or more was doing media training at Fort Leavenworth. I loved that, but it's the same, not that I don't love working with you guys, just as much, but crime drama as TV, you know, is a great reflection of the real life crime drama. There's nothing that touches it. And sitting in a courtroom, sitting there when they're rolling out that evidence and they're arguing these cases, you know, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. But when you get to the hard, dramatic scenes, there's nothing like it. I covered several death penalty cases, several first-degree murder trials, and that forensic evidence, like you said, it's so important. The advances in science and technology now that enter in, it's phenomenal. That was a desperately needed facility, desperately needed.
And there's a state-of-the-art facility right here in Topeka on the campus of Washburn University. Let's take a look.
The Kansas Bureau of Investigation, KBI, opened a $55 million forensic lab on the grounds of Washburn University. The 100,000 square foot building houses the Bureau's state-of-the-art crime lab and replaces the existing facility located in the basement of a former Topeka school building. According to KBI Lab Director Mike Van Straten, there are 70 scientists and technicians working in the facility. The new building has specific areas reserved for each department of the lab, including biology, DNA, toxicology, chemistry, firearm tool marks, latent prints, trace evidence, and digital forensics. There is also an area for processing vehicles. In addition to housing KBI's forensics operation, the new building houses an expanded forensics program for Washburn University. In addition to the existing forensic chemical science degree, which includes an emphasis on forensic chemistry and biology, the university recently added concentrations in digital forensics and forensic anthropology, as well as forensic investigation, to the Washburn course offerings. The students will work in labs similar to those used by the KBI forensic scientists, and they will share common space, including a crime reconstruction space and a 100-seat auditorium. KBI scientists will be guest lecturers and experts in Washburn's classes, and faculty members will be available to provide their expertise to KBI as needed. It is expected that some of those students will transition to KBI forensic scientists and technicians. The new building is the result of a partnership between the university, KBI, and the city of Topeka. The Topeka Public Building Commission financed the project, and rent paid by KBI will eventually retire the bonds. This lab is one of only a handful of working forensic labs on university campuses, and the only one where the lab and the university share space to help educate students, according to a Washburn spokesman. Fort Wallace stood on the frontier in the midst of the Plains Indians Wars on a major stage route and rail line. Beside the 1865 stagecoach station, a modern museum with thousands of artifacts tell that story, like the fossil of a 40-foot plesiosaur is suspended from the ceiling. Located on Highway 40 midway between Hayes and Colorado Springs, the Fort Wallace Museum is as welcome a sight today as the fort itself in the 1860s. Discover the fighting sport in the West.